Companies that have the trust of their customers, they have the trust of their employees, they have the trust of their stakeholders, people in the community. Well, I'm going to try to figure out, how is it in a business to business environment do customers decide to buy? You can have the best product in the world, the best process, the best technology, but it comes down to the people.
And the best way we've acquired our clients is through having real relationships and actual connections, right? Having real conversations and getting to the root of their problems as a business.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. Really delighted to be here. It's great to be able to talk business with you. My story, well, the long and short of it is, I spent about 25 years in business working for some amazing companies, both in Canada and in the US. And what I found is some companies do really well and others not so well. And while working for a software company, I decided to go back to graduate school and do a master's. And I went in thinking, well, I'm going to try to figure out, how is it in a business to business environment do customers decide to buy? And, I was trying to figure out, why are some companies so successful and others are not? What's the single factor that makes some companies successful and some not? And, I think we all kind of think about this when we're looking at companies. And so I went in to try to figure out the answer. So I started on a research project, and the results really made my jaw drop. I was like, wow. So the answer is companies that have the trust of their customers. They have the trust of their employees. They have the trust of their stakeholders, people in the community. It all comes down to trust. It's truly the single factor that makes companies successful. And when you have what I call trust equity, it's a term that I coined a long time ago when I was doing my research in 2011. When you have trust equity, you have more customers, higher revenue, employees that are engaged, and you have repeat business, and your clients give you recommendations. So I created a framework while I was in university, doing my master's while I was working full-time, and an evidence-based framework that shows that when you are trusted, you have all these other benefits. You have loyalty, you have growth and engagement and retention and innovation. So that's kind of, in a really short way of describing my backstory. I just got so curious about it because I had taken over a role in this company of sales, and I really didn't know how to do sales. So I thought, oh my gosh, how do I do this? And went on to figure out, okay, it's all about trust and having relationships of trust.
I definitely agree with that. And it's absolutely true in business. I think that's been the best way we've acquired our clients is through having real relationships and actual connections, right? Having real conversations and getting to the root of their problems as a business. And, taking time to not price gouge, but to actually make sure we're getting to the main issue of what they're trying to get to, right? So
Yeah.
solving problems and complex issues most of the time with a lot of the stuff we're doing. But yeah, so tell us a little bit more about trust and how business owners can really understand that a little bit deeper. Why is that so important?
Well, it's the foundation for everything. And if you think about business in its broadest sense, when we have business challenges or business issues, it doesn't matter what industry your listeners are involved in, whether you're in construction or professional services or product, you sell a product, whether you are a subscription-based company or, one of, when you have customers that are lagging on the subscription, or they're not renewing, or you have sales that maybe are flat, or you don't have customers that are not calling you back. You have declines in revenue, but increases in customer complaints. All of those things are signals or issues or indicators, if you will, that something is broken. And really what it comes down to is those are signals that there is low trust. And in every business, we have different issues happening. But really, it all comes down to what's causing those. And in most cases, it's coming down to the employees and something happening. So for every business, Brandon, there are what I call common critical trust risk points. So, there are many different things that businesses face, right? So a critical trust risk point, I define that as an event or an activity in a company that can either build a customer's trust in you or erode or fracture the customer's trust in you. So things like, selling things we do not need or want, failure to admit a mistake, or responding poorly to a customer complaint, a safety issue, a privacy breach or security breach. It could be not listening to the customer. It could be failing to act in the customer's best interest, thinking, well, I'm going to push this product even though it's probably not the right thing for the customer. All of those are pretty, I would say, common critical trust risk points. And what's so significant is that for every business, what all of those things have in common are people. For every business, that's the key, right? You can have the best product in the world, the best process, the best technology, but it comes down to the people. If the people are not trustworthy and they're not communicating, behaving, and serving you in a trustworthy fashion, then it breaks down.
Hi, I'm Nova, an AI avatar created by Gold Shark Media digital marketing agency. Ready to create AI ads that give a professional and aesthetic impression to your brand like the one you're seeing now? Gold Shark Media can help create you cutting-edge marketing projects and advertisements using our own AI software. We believe your business deserves more than just a one-size-fits-all marketing solution. That's why we offer a range of customized plans designed to meet your needs, whether you're just getting started or ready to take your business to the next level. Our plans are built with one goal in mind: delivering results that matter to you. From lead generation to social media management, paid advertising, and SEO, we have a package that fits your business size and budget. Whether you're aiming for steady growth or preparing for a major expansion, our pricing options are as flexible as they are effective. With Gold Shark Media, you get the support of a dedicated team of experts who work closely with you to achieve your goals. We deliver clear strategies, measurable success, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're in good hands. And here's the best part: with our transparent pricing, there are no surprises. You'll know exactly what you're getting and how it will drive growth for your business. We're here to make sure that every dollar you invest in marketing works harder for you. Because at Gold Shark Media, your American dream is our dream. Let us help you turn that dream into a reality. Explore our plans and pricing today at www.goldsharkmedia.com and start seeing the results you deserve.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. And I
yeah,
love that you mentioned that you were in sales as well, because I have spent a lot
yeah,
of time in sales. I'm also a police officer, but I like to spend a lot of my time in sales because I think that's a better way to generate revenue and to just gain more financial independence, in my opinion. And so, relating to trust, I've definitely noticed that hopping on sales calls with other agency owners, for example, I really like to, test that and kind of see, do I trust this person? And what makes me trust them? And what really does work for me, what gets me to buy is truly that transparency and right showing me the testimonials and, just being upfront and honest with me, but being able to show me the results as well. And
Mhm.
also like the track record, everything that you mentioned. So
Yeah.
for somebody who's B2B, you've worked a lot of
Yeah.
bit of in B2B. Tell us a little bit about some of your horror stories and then some of your glory stories, some of the best stories.
Well, horror stories. So define horror stories. So what what do you mean? I love that term, but what do you mean?
So I guess I like that term because in business we all go through them, and especially with B2B, it can be tricky. You have to definitely maneuver this niche in a particular way. And so I guess that's what I wanted to say is what's the worst thing you've seen? So like what was the craziest
Oh,
chaos in a business, in a B2B kind of business or just any business that you've experienced?
well, I've seen a lot of crazy, interesting things. So, I mentioned to you before we started the show that I have a new book coming out on October 29th. It's called Trusted: The Proven Path to Customer Loyalty and Business Growth. And in that book is a collection of stories. They're actually real stories of real companies and clients that I've worked with. I changed the names to make the people anonymous, but it's a collection of stories. And the first story that was a horror story for this company that I worked with and turned into a great success story after they got through it is one that I'll share with you. So here's an example. It's an IT company. They very successful, well-known IT company in North America. And for those in the IT industry, you would know this brand, well-known company. There was a technology person in the company who continued to get promoted and became the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. And after several years, the owner of the company decided to retire and he sold the company to this CTO. So his name, I'll say in quotations, is Chris to make him anonymous. So he loved the company. He worked on all the technology. Great guy, really great guy. And very technical, brilliant. There was an industry conference, and the company thought, you know what, this is a really great time to introduce Chris as the new owner. And so they invested heavily. They bought a trade show booth. They sent several people to the event, and they worked really hard. And they got him on the stage, and he did a presentation. And he worked really hard on that presentation, and they actually hired someone to help with the speech. And he did a great job. He was nervous. He's not a professional speaker, but he did a great job. And you know what? The audience was really kind, and they, clapped at the end. I've been told I wasn't in the audience. They called me after, and he got through the presentation. But then what happened was after his presentation, it was the Q&A. And so people are asking him questions about, oh, you're the new owner now and you're the new CEO and tell us about this in the industry and tell us about that, just like we do after someone does a presentation. And one of the responses that he gave to the question when they asked about what are your plans now with the business as the new owner? And this was in front of all the people in the industry, including their clients and prospects and employees. He said, well, those who need to know.
Ooh,
Next question.
yep.
Then someone said, well, and you could hear a pin drop apparently in the room. Then someone asked another question and he said, that doesn't really apply to us. I know it's an issue in the industry, but not for us. Next question.
Yeah, so he was dodging the questions and oh boy, yeah.
So it did not go over well because of the way he responded and because of his tone. And, a lot of folks said, he's kind of arrogant and gosh, like he's not very open and transparent. Like, what's happening here? And he's, his body language and all of his responses came off as not trustworthy, let's say. And so what happened is people started to doubt what the company was doing. And over the next couple of weeks, they had some fallout. They had some long-term customers that were very important to the business, not as friendly as they used to be. They had a couple of company, and they were a subscription based. So they wanted to get monthly managed services fee is another way of saying it. And, a couple months later, he went out to lunch, the CEO did, this new guy, with one of their largest customers. And the customer said something like, well, who was a bit standoffish with him, but he said something like, oh, am I one of the people that could know about this? And that's when Chris knew, oh my gosh, all these things that have been happening over the last few months, I'm the problem. I'm the reason because of the way that I responded. So, step number one is we have to really understand that everybody in an organization has a part to play in the customer's decision to trust you. And we have to realize that, wow, like we all have to look in the mirror and, what are we doing? How are we communicating? How are we behaving? And how are we serving our customer?
Definitely.
So what he did was very proactive. He realized, wow, it's me. Like I'm part of the problem. He didn't have the soft skills. He was a brilliant technician, but he just didn't have the soft skills. He didn't have the skill set to build trust. He didn't have the
open up, to relate to the people.
And so it is a skill set. And so he went in, and I have a corporate program and a group program that's professional development training. And he and some other folks on the leadership team and people who weren't on the leadership team, but needed to improve their skills, learned how to build trust. It's an evidence-based system. It's based on science and evidence, and it's step by step to build, manage, and protect relationships of trust. So, after a few months, all their sales started coming back up and their relationships started coming back up. But it was a horror story. And, as I mentioned, my book's coming out October 29th. So I thought about that because I've been in the, reviewing it and talking to people about my new book. And that's what I open my book with, that it's a skill set. And I really believe it's a leadership imperative. And we can all learn to build relationships of trust. Because for this company, Chris's company, like he wanted to be the most trusted in the industry because he knew like when we're the most trusted, it drives loyalty, it drives revenue growth, new partnership opportunities, new distributors in his case.
Yeah, it really does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Need more leads? Need content marketing? How about video editors and consistent lead generation? How about maximized brand awareness? You're in luck. Nice to meet you. We are Gold Shark Media Digital Marketing. What do? We guarantee 5,000 leads per month with our $90 plan and over 100,000 leads for our $10,000 per month plan, along with quality social media management. We work for everyone who needs a platform. Simple. We work for small business owners, personal brands, freelancers, and even for the Fortune 500s. We specialize in providing monthly lead generation, PPC ads, content marketing, website design, podcast promotion and distribution, and e-learning course creation for entrepreneurs and businesses. If you want to see success in business, outsourcing to an agency can save you time and money. Book a free consultation or order a plan from our website. We look forward to working with you. Envision Gold.
Yep. And to ask you a difficult question related to trust. And so you don't have to get too political, but I'm actually curious if you were to give advice to Donald Trump and Kamala Harris today on
Yeah.
how to gain the trust of the people. Again, you don't have to get too political. Just what would your answer be to anybody really competing for positions of power to
Yeah.
those echelons?
Well, I'm Canadian, so I don't have a vote.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah, that's
um,
right.
however, I do watch and see what's happening. And the advice I would give to anyone running for office or any leader of any company or organization or non-government organization is to start with being authentic and sincere. And, in the case of someone running for office, show the public your true self. And I think that is the most important thing.
I think so too.
We buy from people we trust. We invest in people we trust. We vote for people we trust. And it's the framework that I've built that's I talk about in my book is it really comes down to how we communicate, how we behave, and how we serve. And I would suggest start by being authentic and showing your real self, because that's key to behavior, is being open and transparent and just showing people.
Yeah, I appreciate your answer too, and I think it's an even more important answer because you are Canadian and you are outside of the United States, so I think that makes it an even better answer in that sense. And so, for leaders in the space who are getting into public speaking, how did you start, and what would you suggest they do to get better at that skill specifically? Because it's one of the hardest skills in the world.
Oh, I would say practice. I would say practice and really get to know who your audience is. That's those two combined, so that what you share, whatever your message is, that it resonates with the audience and it's relevant to them. So I think there's two things: is to get better, is to practice as much as you can all the time. I mean, there's lots of ways that people can practice. You can practice on, in podcasts, speaking to whatever your local association, or, maybe it's a college class. Those are all great ways to get some practice. And then the second piece is really understand who your audience is.
What was the hardest part for you getting started with public speaking?
What was the hardest part? getting over myself.
So would you consider yourself more of an introvert or an extrovert? I would consider you more of an extrovert. Do you
I
think
am
it?
an extrovert. Yes,
Yeah.
I am. Do you know what? Yes, I am. I'm chatty. I love being around people. I love learning from other people. And yeah, I love learning new things when I talk to other people. And yeah, very much so.
Yeah, because I was talking to one of my previous guests. Her name was Romy Vandermew, and she is a life coach. And I had asked her a similar question and kind of what the key is to that. And she had a similar answer. I was like, okay, do you have to be an introvert or an extrovert? And I'm curious to see what your answer is. Is it required to be an extrovert, or do you have to
Oh
force yourself
no.
to get out there?
Oh, I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. In fact, I have a client who is an extremely successful business owner, and he's an introvert, 100%. And no, I don't. I think that, we're all a little bit different, right? We all learn differently. Some of us have we all have different backgrounds. You can be an extrovert and be a brilliant public speaker. You could be an extrovert and a not so good public speaker. You can be a brilliant public speaker as an introvert. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
I love that answer. I definitely agree because, I'll notice that as I interview different people. Myself, I'm probably more of an ambivert, if I'm being honest, right? I'm a little bit of an introvert in there too. And so I love to watch like a lot of people in our space, entrepreneurs specifically, and how different they are, right? Like Elon
yes.
Musk, one of the wealthiest, like the wealthiest man in the world. But if you listen
Yes.
to him on a podcast, you'll hear him stutter all the time. He's a very nervous speaker. And I've noticed that about him. And then you'll notice somebody like who's just probably a starter level entrepreneur when it comes to comparing to Elon Musk. Like, you know, a lot of the influencers, Ty
Yeah.
Lopez, Gary Vee, Tony
Yeah.
Robbins, you look at them, it's just so natural for them. And you can really see that's one of my favorite things to study with entrepreneurs is whether or not they're introverted or extroverted. And you can really tell. And so I think,
Well, what I find amazing is sometimes we think it's so natural and it's so easy for them. However, what I often wonder is it really, or is it that they're so practiced? Right.
yeah, that's
So,
true.
and I say that because, it's a skill to be a great presenter, just like it's a skill to do a great podcast. And you've learned to do that, and you've got all the tools and have the setup to do that. In the Trust Mastery program that I offer, which is a leadership development program that really teaches people how to become or how to be a trusted leader, become a trusted advisor, trusted leader. And one of the modules in the program is around communicating to different types of people. So communicating to people who are extroverts or introverts, communicating to people who have different social styles or behavioral styles. And when we watch some of these folks who you're talking about, some of them look so like it's so natural. It's because they're so skilled at knowing that, okay, I'm going to tweak my message or my delivery to talk to someone who is analytical, because I know she really wants to hear a lot about statistics and facts and figures, versus someone else that we may say, oh, they really want to hear about stories and they want to hear about testimonials and how the results worked out for that company. So it is, I like you find it fascinating. And my master's, that when I went in to research how is it that customers decide to buy and to try to figure out what makes some companies successful and not, is a master's in communication. So like you, I do find it very interesting. And I have learned, because I've coached and worked with so many leaders over the years, that it really is about knowing what your style is and then being able to adapt it to the people that you're presenting to, whether it's presenting one-on-one or one to, thousands.
At Gold Shark Media, we understand the challenges entrepreneurs face in today's competitive landscape. That's why we offer a comprehensive marketing plan designed to elevate your business. Imagine receiving 5,000 leads, 30 engaging video shorts, and access to our extensive digital e-learning resources, all tailored to your unique needs. Our cold email sequence setup and conversion rate optimization leverages cutting-edge AI and website SEO to maximize your outreach. Think of us as your virtual assistant and in-house marketing team, dedicated to turning your vision into reality. Envision Gold. Your American dream is our dream. Visit www.goldsharkmedia.com and let's make it happen.
Thousands.
Yeah. So what's like a really technical thing that somebody should remember when they're public speaking that you might not realize until you're actually up there? Like a lot of when I've studied public speaking, for example, like I've noticed with Trump, he takes a lot of breaths. He'll take time to before he'll continue talking. Right. And then or just things like that, or everybody has their own style. And that was one of the things I realized about podcasting. I'm not perfect either, but I noticed that slowing down was one thing I noticed, right? Listening a little bit more as a podcaster versus interrupting. What are some of those little things you learned early on as a public speaker that was like, whoa, this is hard for me to get good at? Training myself to hear how I speak and how I say things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess there's a lot of things. So when I'm speaking at a company event, like a sales kickoff meeting or an annual strategic planning session, whether it's a group of 12 people or 800 people, the most important thing that I do is my homework. And I think that the difference between a good presenter and a fantastic presenter comes down to, yes, being skilled as a presenter and being really great at the delivery about, how it's delivered, because really how it's said matters, right? How we communicate matters more than what we say. So I learned very early on that it truly is important to be thinking about and the audience more than anything else. And that's really what I do. I didn't have a speaking coach tell me that. I've hired people to help me become a better speaker. However, at the end of it, I actually really believe in my heart of hearts that the best speakers are the ones that really, really care about their audience. I actually believe that. I think they're the ones that wow us. They're the ones that
Yeah,
we remember because they care about their audience, and then they're being sincere and they're being authentic and they're showing the audience their true self. I think
absolutely.
that's the most important thing. I mean, yes, it's important to have a great message and a great speech and all that stuff, but I really believe that sincerity and authenticity and really wanting to serve the audience and do the best job for the audience is the most important thing.
Yeah, and I think all of that's perfect, and especially preparation, practice and preparation, right? Abraham Lincoln had said, "If you give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'll spend the first four sharpening the axe." So it's one of my favorite quotes, and it's very accurate to how success is able to be obtained when you have those elements, the preparation, right? You have the practice, you have the experiences, and then everything that you had just mentioned. And so
Yeah.
when you were writing your book, tell us a little bit about that experience because when I was writing my books, I found it to be I thought it was very liberating and freeing. It was a fun experience for me. So I guess I want to learn a little bit about your experience writing your book.
Well, I published The Power of Trust: How Top Companies Build, Manage, and Protect It in 2017. And this book is it has all the theories and the science and the evidence behind how my framework was created. And it's got case studies in it and checklists. It's, as you can see, it's a bigger book. And I then wrote the book Trusted this year, and it's a shorter book. And it's, like I said, it's a collection of real stories. And it's a guide for business owners and leaders and managers to build customer loyalty and business growth. And like I said, it's all about being trusted. It talks about the 8 principles of trust, and it was very rewarding to write because I actually wrote about real stories, the challenges the businesses had, whether it was having all these leads in the door, but nothing translating into a sale, or having a customer complain and saying, "I'm leaving the company if you don't replace this person," to companies that lost trust during COVID and had to turn it around to try to regain trust. And I have another client, the last story in the book is about a company that did really well in COVID because they're in the building materials space. And then after COVID, it just sort of leveled out and they had to figure out what was wrong and why they lost the trust. So it was really rewarding because they're all true stories, and I share the results of all these companies that really want to be the most trusted, that want to have the highest market share, that want to have the customer retention and the business growth.
I think that's very excellent what you're working on. And I think it's very important that business owners do learn more about trust and why, and that is the most important part about sales. It really does all come down to that. It comes down to making sure your clients can trust what you're selling, trust what you're saying, because at the end of the day, ultimately, people, we're characters of habit. And a lot of the decisions we make them because we trust that decision. The food we eat, everything we do,
Yes,
right? So it's very important
100%.
as a human being to operate at a functionality where you can provide that trust to people on a
Yeah.
normal, seamlessly basis. I think that's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was really rewarding. And it's like I said, it's a guide. Each chapter, it's a much shorter book. Each chapter has framework for companies to be able to implement right away. It has a section at the end of each chapter called Making It Happen so that you can operationalize and put the learnings into practice right away. And the other thing that I did in this book that I didn't in my other book is there are links that you can go to my website to sign up for more information. So sign up for, as an example, a customer readiness assessment, or sign up for a poster that you can download to talk about trust at your next sales meeting. Or to another download I have is, words that erode trust or fracture trust versus words and phrases that build trust. So, I'm hoping that I hear from people and they download these things, and there are ways that I can stay in touch with the readers as well.
Absolutely. And where can people find you?
You can find my book Trusted on Amazon, and you can find me on LinkedIn, which is how we found each other. I'm Natalie Doyle Oldfield on LinkedIn, and my company is Success Through Trust. So you can also find me on successthroughtrust.com.
Awesome, Natalie. Yes, I definitely want to do another interview soon. I definitely want to ask more questions and talk more about this stuff. I think they're important conversations to have. And I really appreciate you coming on the show and being patient with, I know we've been back and forth trying to get on each other's show. So
I know.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and it's been a great experience.
Yeah, it's been great to meet you. Thanks so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.